What's up guys, this is Ultimate iDevice Vids, and today in this video we're going to be doing a speed test comparison between the brand new 2019 iPad Air 3rd generation and the previous iPad Air 2. So we're going to be doing various tests including an app launching test, a boot test, a Geekbench test, an Antutu benchmark test, and a Safari HTML test. Now before we get started, I just want to mention that this is not a scientific test, and you should definitely take this video with somewhat of a grain of salt, just because the tasks that I'm going to be performing in this video don't necessarily represent how these devices are going to perform in all areas. There's also various different factors that can impact the speed of your device. This is more of just kind of a fun visual exercise to see which device completes which tasks first. The new 2019 iPad Air 3rd generation has the latest A12 chip inside, while the previous generation iPad Air 2 released back in 2014 has the A8X chip. So there's definitely many years in between the releases of these two devices. So of course here on the right I have the brand new 3rd generation iPad Air in gold, and on the left I have the previous iPad Air 2 in space gray. So of course that's the format that's going to be used throughout this entire video, just to go ahead and let you guys know. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start off with the boot test. And guys, just one more thing before we start, I want to show you guys that both of these iPads are running the latest version of iOS as of recording this video, which is iOS 12.2, as you can see right here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start off with the boot test. So let's just go ahead and close out of these applications real quick, and we're going to go ahead and power off the iPad. So how this is going to work is, as you can see, both of the iPads are hooked up to their respective chargers connected to the same power strip. And again, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and flip the surge protector on once these devices are fully off, and that will start up the iPads at the exact same time, and we'll be able to see which one boots up first. But alright, I'm just going to go ahead and flip on the surge protector now. So I'm actually not going to cut out any part of the rebooting section right here. I want you guys to see exactly how long both these devices actually take in real time to start up. So you see the different color Apple logos because, of course, the different colors of the devices there. And once again, this is totally uncut. And as you can see here, the iPad Air 3rd generation did start up first, shortly followed by the iPad Air 2. So, especially with the boot test, definitely don't hold too much stock in that, because a boot test definitely doesn't, represent how the device is going to perform in all areas. But a lot of people like to see it, so there you have it. Alright, so now we're going to do some app launching tests. So we're going to start off with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, I did my absolute best to launch these applications at the exact same time, but once again, definitely not a scientific test. So just opening up the application here. And you can see the iPad Air 3 just a teeny little bit ahead. There's also this little screen here. We're just going to go ahead and skip that. And the most important thing for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is starting the game. So we're going to go ahead and do that at the same time here. And once again, you can see there, the iPad Air 3rd generation is definitely just a little bit ahead of the iPad Air 2. Definitely a few good seconds. But, in the grand scheme of things, you can see they're both performing very well at this task. But again, you can see there with this little cutscene here, the iPad Air 3rd generation is definitely a little bit ahead of the iPad Air 2. And we're just going to go ahead and skip this little cutscene, go straight into the game there, and you can see the result is pretty much, instantaneous for that. But alright, let's go ahead and close out of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Next up, we're going to do Asphalt 9. So another pretty big application here. Launch those both up at the same time. So you can see, same kind of result applies to this as well. You can see the iPad Air 3rd generation is definitely maybe a second or two ahead of the iPad Air 2. You can see it's still on the intro screen, while the iPad Air 3 is, showing its first pop-up for the game. And there you can see the iPad Air 2 actually caught up. So let's just go ahead and exit this here, and we're going to go ahead and press on play now. And you guys are just going to have to bear with me here. There's a lot of little pop-ups I just have to go through here in order to get to the start button. And just got to tap through all these little messages here. We're going to go to next now. Just got to choose the vehicle here. And all right, here it is, the most important button, the play button. So just going to go ahead and tap those at the same time. And as you can see right here, the game is starting. And once again, you can see there the iPad Air 3 is definitely, again, just a little bit ahead of the iPad Air 2. That's to be expected after so many years of processor improvements. But again, not to knock the iPad Air 2 by any means, still incredibly fast, holds up so well in 2019. So again, it's just literally a hair of speed, as we're seeing throughout all of these little tests here. All right, and here's a Temple Run opened up on both of these guys right here. And as you can see right there, once again, iPad Air 3, you can see they're just a little bit ahead of the iPad Air 2, to be expected here. All right, and there you have it. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit out of here. And now we're going to do just a few different stock applications. I'm going to start off with the camera app here. Open those both up. I know a lot of people don't take pictures on their iPads, but pretty much instantaneous. Like, there's very little difference, if any, between those two. You can see they're both incredibly fast. We're going to load up Safari now. Basically the same. Again, maybe a teeny little fraction of a second on the iPad Air 3. But you can see here the history is empty on both. I just want to show you that. And then we're going to go ahead and load up some web pages on here. Now, once again, this depends largely on the connection that you're on. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. But you can see the iPad Air 3 for Apple.com loaded up a little bit faster. I also just want to go ahead and head over to YouTube.com on both of these. Just going to go ahead and tap on YouTube there. And as you can see there, basically the exact same. Maybe, again, just a split second faster on the iPad Air 3. I also want to launch up the App Store on both. As you can see right here. Again, iPad Air 3 was faster, but the App Store also largely depends on your connection because it has a lot of content to load as well. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and run a Geekbench test. So we can actually get some real numbers as opposed to just, trying to tap the same thing at the same time. So it's going to go into here. We're going to go to CPU on both of these. And we're just going to go ahead and run a benchmark. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run, and I'll come back to you guys with the numbers. All right, guys, so here are the final results. So for single core score on the iPad Air 2, we got 1,848. And for multi-core score on the iPad Air 2, we got 4,490. And for the single core score on the iPad Air 3rd generation, we got 4,806. And for the multi-core score on the iPad Air 3rd generation, we got 11,501. So some definite big improvements in these numbers over the years, which, is to be expected. All right, so let's go ahead and close out of the Geekbench app. And I want to go ahead and also run the Antutu benchmark as well. So we're just going to go ahead and open that up. And we're going to start a test in here as well. So I'll do the same thing. I'll go ahead and let this run, and I'll come back to you guys with the numbers. All right, so here are all of the numbers. So you can see there over the years, definitely some substantial improvements here, as to be expected once again. And lastly, I just want to go ahead and run a Safari HTML test as well. So here are the results right here. So you can see both scoring pretty much the same here very well. So at the end of the day, guys, the iPad Air 3 is definitely, you could see throughout this video, a little bit faster than the iPad Air 2. However, the iPad Air 2 still holds up incredibly well, and I would definitely say it is not necessary at all to upgrade from the iPad Air 2 to the iPad Air 3 just because of speed. Sure, it's a nice improvement, and it's really good, but definitely not necessary for that reason. You can see here throughout this entire video, the iPad Air 2 still does incredibly well on iOS 12 in 2019. But alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Apple videos, comparisons between Apple products and things of that nature. Also make sure to follow the channel on Twitter. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.